If you're the type of person who feels claustrophobic in an elevator or an airplane, we have something way worse than that. Imagine you're a 20-year-old college student who is kidnapped for ransom and buried alive for 83 hours. How would you survive? Hello and welcome to Truly Unreal, the show where we tell true stories of scams, crimes, and bad actors, because sometimes the truth really is stranger than fiction. I'm your host, James Lee Hernandez, and today I'm joined by Carl Tart for our very first episode. Carl is currently a writer on SNL. He's also an actor and comedian known for shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Party Over Here, and Comedy Bang Bang. And he hosts the podcast The Flagrant Ones and XOXO Bada Bing. Now, before we dive in today, every guest has to spin the Truly Unwheel. Each image on this wheel represents a scandal, scam, cult, or conspiracy. Wherever it lands, you answer the prompt tied to it. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Let's spin the wheel. Oh, goop. Okay. Have you ever fallen for a scam wellness product?
Absolutely. When I was in my early 20s, everybody was selling Herbalife. Like it was like a multi-level marketing thing where they were selling these protein shakes and stuff, and it's still around. And honestly, I don't want to get sued by calling it a scam. Everybody was selling it, and I bought some. And now I think back on how I looked at that point and how I look now, and was like, damn, I didn't need no Herbalife. Now I need it.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, so many people were doing it to the point where, like, I had two friends trying to sell me the same thing at the same time. Like, you guys know each other. You're not communicating this at all?
Exactly. I had 3-4 friends doing it. Like some friends they are, because they be the ones being like, "Oh man, you packing on a couple pounds, huh? You know, you might want to check out this Herbalife." And it was expensive.
I mean, you're a good friend. You had to try it out.
Had to try it.
Great. Well, you have some experience with some, we won't call it a fraud, but, some questionable business practices. So this is slightly different. Now, are you claustrophobic?
I'm going to just go ahead and say yes. I don't even think I can put the sheet over my head when I'm in bed. And that's pretty much sheer. So, yeah, like, I've never announced that, but I guess I am. I don't want to be in an enclosed space where I can't get out.
Yeah. Well, do we have the story for you today? So this is actually one of the most infamous buried alive ransom kidnapping stories in American history, which is kind of wild to say because there were multiple. This isn't like the only one. This is just the most intense version of that. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the story, and we're going to kind of live this through the eyes of the person who went through it. So you are going to be that person. And every step along the way, when there's like a fork in the road of a decision that this person had to face, I'm going to ask you what you, Carl, would do if you were this person, and then I'll tell you what actually happened. And
so basically, you're going to give me anxiety for the rest of the day. I live on the 24th floor of my apartment, and the elevators get stuck a lot. And now you're going to have me thinking about that.
Yep. Sorry about that. We'll have to notify our on-staff psychologist after this, just to help you get through the day.
Have to drink some Herbalife after this.
Yeah. All right. So it's sort of like Choose Your Own Adventure, like one of those books, or Oregon Trail, or a role-playing game, and you're just going to roll through it. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So your college student, Barbara Jane Mackle.
Hi, y'all. I'm assuming that's how she talked.
You know what? She is from the South.
Yeah, Barbara Jane Mackle. That's a high y'all name.
Exactly. All right. So the year is, it's December 1968. You're 20 years old, and your dad is rich. And we're talking like he's a property developer. He has powerful friends like Richard Nixon, which, was going to be the president at the time, like very well off. Now, you go to Emory University, which is just outside of Atlanta, and it's finals week. It's right before the holidays, and you get the Hong Kong flu, which, yes, that's actually what it was called at the time. This is the Don Rickles era.
So problematic was okay.
Encouraged, really.
Encouraged.
So you're feeling sick. You leave exams early. You call your mom, and Your parents live in Coral Gables, Florida, and your mom drives the 10 hours up to Emory to take you back home. She picks you up. You guys decide you're going to stay the night in a roadway inn just outside of Atlanta before you make the 10-hour trek back. And then at 4 a.m., there's a knock at the door. It wakes you up. You hear a man's voice outside saying he's a detective and that there's been a car accident. And it's involving a white Ford, which is the same car your boyfriend drives, and he was visiting you earlier that night. It's 4 a.m., you're sick, you're in the hotel room with your mom, you hear the knock at the door. What do you do?
I'm acting like I'm asleep. I'm not hearing that. That's what I do personally. I'm like, oh, ain't nobody coming here to see me at this time.
I mean, that's honestly a smart decision. So your answer is just pretend like you're asleep and wait till they go away.
Yeah.
Your mom, being the trusting Southern woman that she is, she opens the door. And surprise, not detectives. It's two people, one tall man carrying a shotgun, and there's a shorter, skinnier, what looks like a teenage boy wearing a black ski mask. So you can't totally tell what they look like. The taller one chloroforms your mom immediately and ties up her hands and feet. Meanwhile, teenage boy grabs you and ties up your hands and feet. Once your mom is fully unconscious, they drag you out of the room, throw you in a car, and they're off. The taller one tells you not to make any noise and points a gun at your face. Okay, what do you do in this situation? Do you fight back? Do you try to escape? Do you just do what they say?
I mean, in that situation, and I got the Hong Kong flu, I think I'm not strong enough in that moment to fight back. But maybe I just wrap my lips around the gun and go, do your worst. Gosh, these two people are this rich. They know the president. Why are they staying at a roadway inn? Have you seen a roadway inn? They're still around.
I've driven past a few, and unless I needed meth, I wasn't stopping.
Roadway inn? Oh, come on, y'all.
Yeah, how did this not kill Roadway Inn? Like they're the brand in general.
Honestly, first of all, the idea of like the motor inn, like the hotel rooms right off the highway, those always look creepy. I'm from the South originally, and they still have a lot of those around. And it goes, yo, I'm not staying there unless I'm really down on my luck.
Yeah, just like all the rooms in a row facing the street.
Yeah, with the car right there.
Yeah.
I remember staying like an old school Holiday Inn, and you can see the rooms right there. But I remember like my grandma being like, can we get a room on the top?
All right, well, actual Barbara complies. She just goes along with it because, it's 4 a.m. She's weak. So your mom wakes up quickly. She calls the police. You're already gone. Now, the next thing you know, you're gagged and tied up, but you're not blindfolded. So you can see that they're taking you outside of Atlanta. Then you start to see trees. They're taking you into the woods, which, of course, is never a good thing.
No reason to be in the woods ever.
Eventually, the car leaves the main road and stops. The kidnappers pull you out, and then you see something pretty strange. At first, you don't understand what you're looking at. You just see that there's a hole in the ground, and it looks kind of like a grave. And then there's something in it, something kind of low down at the bottom. And it's not quite a coffin, but it's definitely a box of some kind. Okay, so at this point, do you try to make a run for it?
Yeah. At this point, I got to take off. If you're thinking I'm going to get in this hole willingly, because chances are I'm going to die in there. So, yeah, I wonder how she was tied up. Hands behind her back in front of her back. She also got that damn flu. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is awful. I hate this story, James.
Well, it's going to get a little worse right now. They open the lid to the box, and now you can see inside the whole thing. And this is where it gets weird. So there are pipes coming out of the box, and it looks maybe like a ventilation system. And you also see a few items inside. Okay, there's a small fan, a battery-powered light, water, some sort of candy, might be candy bars, blankets, and a bucket. And you don't really have time to react. They untie you and immediately push you inside the box.
I mean, that would make me feel a little bit better if I saw the candy bars in there. Because it's like, okay, so y'all are trying to keep me alive. Because this feels like a foiled plan from the beginning.
You are fully conscious when this happens too, by the way. They hand you a sign while you're inside the box, and across it, it just says kidnapped. Have you hold it up and they take a picture of you. Then they close the lid.
I feel like they could have just put me in the house. Like, y'all already got me tied up. I have the Hong Kong flu. I'm weak. I'm scared. Just let me be in the house. We can still take the kidnap picture. Like, why do I have to get in a box in the ground? Because that wouldn't, honestly, the reason why this plan is foiled to me already is I'm going to have a panic attack in there. I don't care what supplies you have in there.
I think it's 1968. This is before panic attacks were invented, I think.
Okay, well, I'll have the Hong Kong attack or whatever they want to call it back then.
Yeah, that's too technical. All right, so there's actually typed instructions attached to the inside of the lid, and they're pretty detailed. Now, I'm going to read them out to you word for word, and this is the thing that you have to look at while you're buried underground. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Do not be alarmed. You are safe, which that's not a good start. Your life depends on the air delivered to your chamber via the ventilation fan. This fan is powered by a storage battery with power for 270 hours, which is the equivalent of like 11 days. However, the use of the light and other systems for only a few hours will reduce this figure to only 1 week of safety. A muffler has been placed in the air passage to prevent any noise you make from reaching the surface. If we detect any commotion which we feel is dangerous, we will introduce ether to the air intake and put you to sleep. If you use the light continuously, your life expectancy will be cut to 1/3 of the week we have allotted you before you are released. Your capsule contains a water jug with 3 gallons of water and a tube from which to drink it. Your capsule also contains a bucket for refuse, which is, I guess, just going to the bathroom. Don't tip it over. The lid seals tightly to prevent the escape of odors. A roll of wax paper is provided. Use it to prevent solid waste from contaminating your bed. A case of candy is provided to furnish energy to your body. There are tranquilizers that are provided to aid you in sleeping, the best way you have to pass the time. We're sure your father will pay the ransom we have asked in less than 1 week. When your father pays the ransom, we will tell him where you are and he'll come for you. Should he fail to pay, we will release you, so be calm and rest. You'll be home for Christmas one way or another. And that's when you understand what's happening. You are literally being buried alive.
Yeah. But they said they would release her, even if he didn't pay. But she got to find her own way out.
Yeah. So the space is barely large enough to move. It's basically a coffin. Like, the logistics on how you're going to the bathroom in that thing is not, I don't know if they thought that out. And so you're laying there and you start to hear the dirt going on top of the casket that you're in. And you start to scream, but it's silence. Like, you are fully all the way underground. The good news is you have a watch that you can faintly see, so you generally know what time it is. The bad news is you can't sit up all right. You can't stand. And again, not sure how you're using that bucket to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So you're fully buried. You have all these items with you and instructions. What do you do now?
At this point, for me, I don't care about what the instructions say. It ain't like I'm like reading this and going, oh, you know what? I can relax because I'll at least get out. No, I think fight or flight sets in at this point, and I'm trying to dig out or something, knowing that's not going to help me. Maybe I'm trying to do what's the movie, Kill Bill, where I'm trying to punch
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing the straight hand fist thing. I mean, at this point, I am definitely panicking. I'm going to have a heart attack at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the tranquilizers. I would just be like, well, here we go. Just knock me out.
Yeah, I would probably take a dose of that.
Somehow it gets worse from here because you start to feel moisture and water coming in and realize that it just started to rain outside and you have those ventilation pipes. Rain starts seeping into the box and water is pooling under your body. Above ground, your father receives a phone call at the family house. He's told to dig beneath a specific palm tree on their property. Inside is a buried glass jar and a typewritten ransom note. The demand is $500,000, which in today's money is like $4 million.
Yeah.
Soon after, another envelope arrives at the house. Inside is a piece of jewelry from Barbara and that Polaroid photo that was taken. So proof of life. And the kidnappers also include clear drop instructions that to drive alone, one suitcase, a secluded spot in Biscayne Bay, no police. No one knows when or how the kidnappers buried this note. It still remains unclear, but it was on the property. So this stuff is thought out way ahead of time. Now, in real life, would your family pay $4 million to get you back?
They don't have it. I'm stuck. They don't have it, and there's no way to get it.
Your father notifies the FBI immediately, not the local police. FBI deals with stuff like that. He follows the planned instructions, and the kidnappers collect the money by motorboat. But of course, being idiotic criminals, they crash their boat while fleeing. The noise draws local police, who were unaware that the ransom drop was underway. There's a full chase, gunfire. The kidnappers somehow escape. They abandon the money, and they abandon their getaway car. The kidnappers are able to reestablish contact with your father. The second drop is arranged. The FBI receives a call. The voice gives vague directions to a wooded area near Norcross, Georgia, and a challenge. They need to find you before you run out of air. But you don't know any of this. So it's been about 24 hours since you've been buried alive. Do you do anything differently, or do you just keep on trying to Kill Bill fist your way out of being buried?
James, I'm going to be honest. At this point, I am dead. Like, the fear has set in, as we called it, the Hong Kong panic attack has taken over. I'm gone. This lady is strong, way stronger than I am. I'm dead. I am dead at this point. I've choked on 10 Snicker bars is probably what I'm swallowing them whole at. I would not have, they going to find a skeleton when they open up that coffin.
You basically just give it up at this point, which I get. 24 hours buried underground in the dark with the little shop light. Not the most exciting way to spend your holiday season.
No. Maybe I can think of like some meditations to try and center myself. And then I'm going to look at that watch and be like, it's only been 10 minutes?
Just every minute feels like an hour.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what really goes down. So more than 100 agents descend on the countryside, and they begin searching near Norcross, and they just find nothing. They don't even know fully what they're looking for. There were no like full-blown descriptions. Time's running out, and they widen their search out into a wooded area in Lawrenceville. Even though they don't know what they're looking for, they just keep traversing the countryside. And at approximately 4:15 p.m., it has now been 3 days and 11 hours since you've been buried. 2 agents working at a certain hillside hear something faint. You start knocking on the top of the box, and they hear you. They find a spot that has 2 protruding ventilation pipes, and with their hands, they just start digging. They finally get to the casket. They open it, and after 83 hours underground, you are pulled from the box.
Oh, my gosh.
You've lost 10 pounds. You're severely dehydrated. You're too weak to stand, and rainwater has almost fully filled up that entire capsule. But you're alive.
Oh, my God. This story is awful, James. 10 pounds in 83 hours. I could use that right now, but I definitely don't want to go through that method of it. Like, I should just get my 10,000 steps in.
Yeah, it's either that or the Herbalife. You could take it
Herbalife,
back.
yeah. I'd much rather use the Herbalife. Plead to my friends. I will buy as much Herbalife as I need, please. 10 pounds in 83 hours. So that does sound kind of nice.
Yeah, like the one of the key things for this whole thing is about to come up of like how she mentally was able to deal with it. And it's kind of wild.
In 1968. I can't wait to hear it. Y'all picked a horrible story for me, huh?
It's just so, like, this story has fascinated me for so long. Like, why not just put you in a basement of a house?
Exactly.
It feels very elaborate for no reason.
I got to hear what happened to these guys.
Okay, so here is essentially your score so far.
All righty.
Now, you went with Act like you're asleep so you don't answer the door, which actually would have been a really good move, except for your mom is too trusting and she opened the door. So you get points for trying to sleep through the entire thing and not have it happen in the first place. Then you decided to try and make a break for it and run into the woods, except you're tied up. And once they take out the gun, you're basically like, please kill me. So you're dead. You're probably dead by now.
Yeah, no, I conceded.
And then for what to do once you're buried, you said you would try to kill Bill your way out, which is like kind of what she did. Like she was fighting the whole time. But then, of course, after the 24 hours, you would eat yourself to death at the Snickers bar. So unfortunately, you died in this scenario. Now, here's the aftermath. So first of all, this is how she got herself through this whole ordeal. She thought about Christmas with her family the entire time, and that is how she found the strength to survive.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And she decided to just keep knocking because at a certain point, you just lose your voice from screaming.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up saving her life. Now, Barbara is returned home to Florida. She celebrates Christmas with her family, as the note said that she would. Later, she publishes a memoir about this whole thing called 83 Hours Till Dawn in 1971. Then she basically just steps away from the public eye. She gets married, raises a family, lives quietly. The box she was buried in is later displayed by the FBI as a case study in criminal psychology. It's a symbol for ingenuity and for survival. Now, what happened to the kidnappers?
Yes.
Within 24 hours, one of the kidnappers is captured off the coast of Florida, sailing in a boat he purchased with the ransom money. Everything left behind in that abandoned car when that first dropped didn't go well. It was a ransom note, the receipts for the car, the rental document, like all this stuff that traced back to this guy. So immediately he's found. His name's Gary Stephen Christ. He's a 23-year-old fugitive and escaped ex-con. The paper trail would later be used against him in court. He's sentenced to life in prison, but he only ends up serving 10 years and got out on parole.
Why? Our justice system.
Now, what career do you think he got once he was out of prison?
FBI informant.
Even worse, he becomes a licensed doctor.
Oh, come on. Come on. What?
Goes to medical school, the whole nine. But then his career ends in scandal when he loses his license for failing to disclose this whole kidnapping conviction. In 2006, he gets arrested again, this time for attempting to traffic cocaine and transporting undocumented immigrants. So his criminal life didn't end with the Barbara story. And remember the teenage boy that was with him?
Yeah.
That wasn't a boy. The second kidnapper was a woman, a 26-year-old marine biology graduate student named Ruth Eisman Shear. She had disguised herself as a teenage male accomplice, and she's arrested 2 months later and deported to Honduras. But before that, she became the first woman ever placed on the FBI's 10 most wanted list.
Okay. And they found her.
Oh,
interesting.
So what's your big takeaway from the story?
If you stand at a roadway inn, don't answer the door at 4 a.m. I don't care who it is. I don't care if Jesus is knocking. Say, Jesus, I'll see you in the morning. Also, if you got that much money, don't stay at the roadway inn and travel with companions.
Yeah, the fact that it was just the two of them that were bopping around in a roadway inn out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, every horror movie starts that way.
It just doesn't make any sense. People were stupid back then. My gosh. Idiots. Idiots, I tell you.
Yeah, how did this not kill Roadway Inn? Like they're the brand in general.
Honestly, first of all, the idea of like the motor inn, like the hotel rooms right off the highway, those always look creepy. I'm from the South originally, and they still have a lot of those around. And it goes, yo, I'm not staying there unless I'm really down on my luck.
Yeah, the single level, like all the rooms in a row facing the street.
Yeah, with the car right there.
Yeah.
I remember staying like an old school Holiday Inn in Jackson, which was like a 2-level where you park and you can see the rooms right there. But I remember like my grandma being like, can we get a room on the top? I don't want to be like, even though you can still get up there, but it just felt a little safer.
Yeah, just that drive up, open the door, and immediately leave like that. That's what led to this whole thing. You can just knock somebody out and throw them in your trunk immediately.
Yeah, nah, don't open that door. Don't open that door.
All right. Well, Carl, thank you for being here. This was really awesome. I apologize for really hammering away at your claustrophobia, but thank you for sharing that with us. Where can listeners find you?
I'm on Instagram at dammit Carl. If you want to listen to any of the podcasts that I host, they're all on the Hollywood Handbook and Friends Patreon network. That's patreon.com/Hollywood Handbook. And watch Saturday Night Live, Saturday nights at 11:30 p.m. on NBC. Or the next day on Peacock.
I love it. Awesome. Thank you again. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Truly Unreal Podcast so you don't miss any behind the scenes clips, bonus content. You can also watch the full length video episodes over on YouTube. That's a wrap for Truly Unreal, episode 1. See you guys next week, unless you get buried alive.